So hopefully you can see everything really well in this yoga room. So let's go ahead and get started. Shams is here today. He's usually not part of the yoga gang. All right, so let's just go ahead and get seated. Find a nice, straight, aligned spine. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Big sigh through the mouth. And just feel into your body. Really become conscious of all sensations. Start slowing your breath down and deepening it. Beginning an Ujjayi breath if you are comfortable with that. And then just notice any fluctuations of the mind. You can think of that as the speed and quality of your thoughts. Notice any emotions or absence of emotions. Notice what your energy is like right now. And then let's bring palms together in front of the heart. Take a moment and set your intention for practice. And then when you're super clear on that, big inhale, big exhale. Roll your shoulders back, relax the arms, just kind of get a little bit of front shoulder and chest opening. And then we'll go ahead and transition onto all fours to do cat-cow stretches. Really noticing spinal mobility today. So following your breath, when you inhale, you arch your back. And when you exhale, you round your back. Just following your breath. And then on your next exhale, just go ahead and take child's pose. If you can do a full-on rounded back child's pose, that's going to be best for today's practice because we'll be using it as a counter pose to some chest openers. And then from this child's pose, go ahead and scoot forward for a sphinx. Make sure that your glutes are relaxed and make sure that your shoulders are down the back and that your heart is pulling forward. So you're getting spine lengthening and you're getting chest opening. And then go ahead and take your first downward facing dog. Just feeling into your body, noticing how everything is, trying to get a little extra length in the spine. And then you can slowly walk your feet forward, keep your knees bent so that you wind up at the front of the mat in ragdoll. Either grabbing the elbows or just letting the hands hang, either one is fine. Then on your next inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Spread the fingers, lift the chest. See what it feels like to reach the arms a little farther back. If that feels okay, lift the chest and roll it a little farther back. Hold that for one more breath. And then exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. So we're going to step back with our right foot. So we've got a left foot forward lunge. Just hold your lunge. And once you kind of get your legs set and you're feeling the appropriate stretch, see if you can pull the chest forward a little bit. For me, it's a little bit easier to come up on my fingertips. You may or may not need to do that. To try and get your heart and your face forward so that the shoulders can kind of pull down and back a little bit. We'll go ahead and drop the right knee down just for stability. Plant your right hand and take your left hand towards the ceiling. And then maybe even roll open a little bit. Again, we're looking at opening up the chest a little bit. Bring your left hand down and extend your left leg so that you feel your left hamstring. And once you get the ankle and toes flexed, again, if you can, lift your chest and pull it forward. From here, bend your left knee. Bring the arms up and overhead, tilt the pelvis, lift the chest, let your hips move forward. If it feels okay, lift the chest a little more. All of these things are optional, of course. If that feels good, let the arms come out to the side, palms up. And then maybe even take the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers and squeezing the shoulder blades together. From here, we'll bring both hands down. Take the left knee back to meet the right knee. And of course, those of you doing traditional vinyasas may begin to take off from here. Otherwise, we're going into child's pose. Remember, try and do that rounded back version if you can. And then from here, feel free to scoot into Sphinx. For those of you who can, let's make it a baby cobra. And so you want to pull the shoulders down the back, lift the chest a little. And then downward facing dog. From this downward facing dog, step your right foot forward. Stay in that position for one more moment. All right, drop your left knee. Take your right hand up towards the ceiling. Roll your chest open. Just get that little bit of a chest stretch. Awesome. And then from here, we're going to bring the right hand down, extend your right leg, flex your ankle and toes, pull your chest forward. And then bend the right knee. Let's take the arms up and overhead. Tilt your pelvis back, lift the rib cage up, let your hips move forward until you feel this on the front of your left hip. Then if it feels okay, maybe even roll the rib cage back a little bit. If that feels okay, take your arms out to the side, palms up. And then maybe interlace your fingers behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. From here, bring your hands down, step forward to your standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up and overhead, and exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway, and then back down. Step back with your left foot this time. So if you need to drop your left knee down, please do. But if you can stay in a high lunge, we'll take the arms up and overhead. And do just like we did before, take the arms out to the side, lift the chest, maybe roll it back. Bring the hands behind the back, squeeze the shoulder blades together, lift the arms this time. Now, if your left knee is on the ground, for just a second, bring it up. If you're in a high lunge, we're all just going to spin that left heel flat so that we're in warrior one. Adjust your feet if you need to. Yeah, it's a challenging move to transition. And then we're just going to fold forward into humble warrior. Try and get your right shoulder to your right thigh. Relax the neck and reach the arms up and overhead. Come all the way back up. Release the arms all the way up and over your head. Full on warrior one. And then take your hands down. Step back to hands and knees, child's pose. From your child's pose, you may do either Sphinx or Cobra. If you can do Cobra, it's a little bit more of a chest opener, so that's why I've chosen that. But if you cannot, please feel free to do Sphinx. And those of you doing vinyasas, upward facing dog is a great chest opener if you keep a tiny bend in the elbows and pull forward. Downward facing dog. From this down dog, we're going to take the left foot forward. Remember, if you need to, please feel free to drop your right knee down. It's fine. If you can hold a high lunge, arms are up and overhead. And then maybe they're out to the side. Maybe you interlace your fingers behind your back and squeeze your shoulder blades. If your right knee is off the ground, go ahead and take it up now. Spin that heel flat. Come into your warrior one. Adjust your feet if you need to. And then we're just going to fold forward, taking left shoulder to the top of the left thigh, reaching the arms up and overhead for humble warrior. Come all the way back up. Release the arms up and over your head. And then bring your hands down and transition to hands and knees and take a child's pose. From here, we'll scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra, really opening up the heart. And then downward facing dog. Now from this down dog, we're going to drop down to all fours and come up to kneeling. So half camel. You guys know it's up to you if toes are turned under or not. You don't have to reach for a heel. It really all depends on what your body is feeling today, right? Every day is a different day. So we're going to start with our hands on the hips, tuck the tailbone under. So tilt your pelvis back, push your hips forward a little bit. No matter what you do, you want to maintain vertical thighs. I suggest you lift your chest up and start to reach back. Now, your right arm is going to reach up and overhead. And maybe you stay right here. Or maybe you reach back with your left hand for your left heel. Either is fine, but breathe nice and deep. And back up. And we reset exactly the same way. Pelvis tilts, hips move forward. Left arm reaches up and back. And then you can keep your right hand at the hip, or you can bring it to your right heel, whatever feels best for you. And then come back up, buns to heels, forehead down, traditional child's pose. Round your back to give yourself a little counter pose. Take a couple of breaths, let the low back expand and settle down. And then from here, you're going to come back onto all fours. And we're going to use just a straight modified side plank because we really want to use this to open the chest. So I'm gonna have you open up your right side first, which means your left foot is gonna kick out to the left. Your right leg is gonna extend. Try and get that straight line. Left hand, left knee, right foot, all in one long line down your mat. Your left foot's kind of behind you like a kickstand. Your right arm reaches up, but then the whole idea is just keep going. Roll open. It's like you're trying to reach your right arm behind you. Some of you guys will probably get about 90 degrees. I don't have that kind of shoulder mobility, but some of you do. So don't hold back. It's like you're trying to get your chest to face the ceiling. And then bring it all back down. Right hand and right knee down. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So that right foot's gonna kick out like a kickstand. Left leg extends with the left foot totally flat. And if you look down, the length of your mat parallel to the long side is your left foot, right knee, right hand. Then your left hand reaches up and you just keep going. Roll open. Get as much chest opening as you can. Good. Bring left hand and left knee back down. And go straight into downward facing dog from here. From your down dog, slowly walk your feet forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're going to transition into dancer pose. And today your emphasis is really using your leg strength to open up the front of the shoulders and the chest. So if you need to get close to something to hang on to, that's fine. I'd like you to stand on your left foot first. So your right hand is going to go out to the right, preferably with your palm facing up. Your right thumb is pointing straight behind you. Just going to reach your right hand back and put your right foot in it. So you should be grabbing the big toe side of your right foot. Left arm extends, pelvis tilts. But the most important part today is to push your right leg back until you feel the front of your right shoulder opening. And back up. Plant your right foot down. Same thing on the other side. Left hand reaches out to the left. The palm is up. You just reach your left arm back and put your left foot in your left hand. Right arm reaches up. Tilt your pelvis. Pull that left leg back and keep pushing into your left hand until you feel your left shoulder stretching. Come all the way back up and release. Feet together, palms together. Take a big inhale, reach the arms up and back. If you feel like you can, hold this for one more breath. And then fold all the way forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, look up halfway. Exhale, back down. From here, I'm going to have you step back with whichever foot you want so that you can see your screen. I'm going to step back with my right foot and spin the heel flat and come up into a warrior two. We'll do both sides facing this way. So whichever direction you need to go is fine. You might be on the opposite leg. It's all good. Whichever side you're doing your warrior two on, let your arms be out to the side like we normally do, but have them palm up. Lift your chest, reach the arms straight back to stretch the chest, and then make sure that your front knee, the bent knee, is pressing towards the little toe and that your straight leg feels like it's rolling outward. Take one more breath here. And then straighten the front leg, whichever one it is, lengthen And come into your best triangle for today. And then when you get there, let your top arm and that side of the chest roll open a little bit. Come all the way back up. Rotate your front foot in and your back foot out. So whatever direction you're going, you're just doing your other side now for your warrior two. But I'd like you to do it that slightly different way. Have your palms facing up. Kind of reach the thumbs back so you get a little bit of a chest stretch. Your front knee, the bent knee, presses towards the little toe, and your straight back leg rolls outward. Go ahead and straighten your front knee, lengthen your rib cage, and come into your triangle on this other side. And once you find your best alignment, kind of roll your chest open a little. From here, come all the way back up, and now just rotate your feet so they're both pointing directly forward. Hinge at your hips. Bring your hands or fingertips or even a block down to the floor in front of you so that you have a very straight, flat spine. So in other words, your hands are a little bit in front of your feet, like torso distance. You're gonna go ahead and slide your right hand dead center. So it should kind of be underneath your throat or under your face. Keep the spine long and rotate your left hand up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand down. Keep the spine lengthened. Rotate your right hand up towards the ceiling. Bring your right hand back down. Go ahead and toe heel the feet in. Big inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. We're gonna take a big inhale as we come back to the front of the mat, reaching the arms up and overhead. Exhaling to fold forward. Inhaling, looking up. Exhaling back down. Move back onto your hands and knees. Feel free to give yourself a little tail wag if you need it. So we're gonna go for the full camel today, full Ustrasana, but there's lots of ways to modify that. So go ahead and come on up to kneeling. Now, if you have a very tight back, you might keep your hands at your sacrum the whole time. You might just barely roll the rib cage up. It's enough, it's still full camel. If you have a so-so, maybe a little tight back, you can do like I do and turn your toes under so that if you want to reach for the heels, they're a lot closer. And then if you have an extra supple back, untuck your toes and reach for the heels. They'll be a lot farther down. You choose whatever feels good to you today. Like stay out of the ego, stay in your body. Your body may love this stuff, or it may say, whoa, you're gonna stay way up here. Whatever it tells you is the truth. So your knees should be about hip distance. I'm turning my heels under, but you don't have to. You may not even reach for the heels. We're all gonna start the same, just like we did for half camel, hands on the hips. Your pelvis tilts back, so that means you're kind of tucking the tailbone under and pushing your hips forward. Lift your chest and start to roll it back. Now this is enough. You could just stay here and breathe. If you want to, you can reach back for the heels. You gotta try and keep those thighs vertical. And then breathe deeply. And come on up. We take the buns to the heels, round the back, forehead down, hands by your feet, palms up if you can. 3 deep breaths into your low back. From here, those of you doing vinyasas, you can take a full one. The rest of us will go ahead and scoot forward into either Sphinx or Cobra. You can choose which one. Make sure your heart is pulling forward. And then downward facing dog. When you get to your down dog, really, really press the hips up and back, lengthen, stretch. So if you're able to, you'll take your right leg up in the air, bend the knee, and roll your hip bone open and get some nice stretch from your left armpit to your right knee. Some of you might feel spunky enough to go ahead and finish flipping your dog, which means your right foot finds the ground behind you and your right arm reaches up and overhead. You feel this all through the chest. If you have flipped your dog, flip it all the way back around. So all four paws on the ground, stretch, drop to your knees. Cat-cow, inhaling to arch, exhaling around. Do that a couple of times. And then turn your toes under and go back into downward facing dog. Press those hips up and back. If you can, you're going to take your left leg up in the air, bend the knee, roll your hip bone open and just stretch. And this is plenty. If you want to play with it though, you drop your left foot behind you on the mat, reach your left arm up and overhead, stretch. And bring it back around, full on down dog. And then drop to your knees and cat-cow again. Inhale to arch, exhale to round. And then one last time, turn your toes under, downward facing dog. And this time I want you to just lengthen your spine as much as you can. Press your hips up and back, but make sure you're also pressing your heels down. It doesn't matter if they're near the floor, but they should be moving in that direction. Then you can walk your feet forward. Have a seat with your legs extended to come into Dandasana, staff pose. So we'll just take a moment on our sit bones, hands right behind the backside to help facilitate that super straight spine. Head should be balanced on top of it, legs are very active. We just take the opportunity to check in with our bodies, make sure we're still connected to our breath. Notice if the mind state has changed. Maybe it's a little more focused. Notice if there's any emotions or absence of. Check in with your energy. And then just move your hands a little farther back. Lift your chest up and push it forward. Hold that for 2 breaths. Then I want you to raise the arms up, lift your chest, almost arching the back, and begin to pull your chest and your face forward. And continue to have them pointing forward as you let your hands find your legs or feet. Doesn't matter where they land, but try and keep your chest and your face pointing forward. So this is a neutral spine. Take one more breath here. And then come on up from that. And if it feels okay in your body now, we're going to do a rounded spine. You're going to tuck your chin into that little notch in your collarbone. That's Jalandhara Bandha. And you're going to slowly curl and roll down as though you were going to put your head on top of your knees. And come on up from that. Keep your right leg straight. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Pardon me, just lean out over your right leg. Wherever your right hand is a good place for it. You're gonna lift your chest, reach your left arm back, kind of pull a little bit with your right arm. So it's a bit of a side bend, but we're using this to roll the chest open. So you wanna try and reach back with that left arm within reason. And then come back up and just pick your left knee up. You can either hug the left leg with your right arm and bring your left hand behind you, or you can bring your right arm outside of that left leg, lift your chest and twist to look over your left shoulder. Go ahead and rotate back around, extend your left leg out. Right foot comes to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out of your left leg. And wherever your left hand is a good place for it. Just lift up a little bit. Take your right hand straight up towards the ceiling. Kind of pull back down with that left arm a little bit, and then try and just roll the chest open. So you'll get a little bit of a right side stretch here, but you should be feeling more of a chest opening. And then we're gonna come on up from that and just pick the right knee up. You can either hug it with the left arm or bring your left arm outside of it. Right hand is behind you, chest is lifting, and you're twisting to the right. Rotate back around, extend your right leg out, give yourself a good wiggle. So we're just gonna do the modified version of fish today, no full-on fish pose. But for those of you that do like to be challenged, I'll give you a little bit of an abdominal challenge with it, but we'll make sure that this is comfortable for neck and shoulders for everyone. So you're gonna barely tuck your fingers underneath your backside and lean back on your forearms. Lift your chest up. So remember we did this a second ago when we were seated. Lift your chest up. And this is it, right? It's just an upper back contraction, an upper chest lift. Those of you that want more of a challenge, feel free to raise your legs. Now, if you have low back issues, please don't raise your legs. So keep your chest lifted, keep breathing. And press yourself all the way back up. Give your legs a little wiggle if you like. And then from here, you get to roll down onto your back, hug your knees in, rock side to side. That should feel pretty good. It's a nice counter pose to all of the stuff you've been doing. We're not quite done with the chest opening, but we're getting close. So your next chest opening is going to be bridge pose. And if you're able, we'll do it with the really specific chest opening part of it. If you have shoulder issues, you ignore me and just make sure that this feels okay in your body. So the first time up, big toes are touching, heels are separated, and your heels are as close to your backside as you can get them. It's helpful before you even lift up to kind of, I like to think of it as like folding my wings in. Get your shoulder blades a little closer together. You'll feel your chest lift a tiny bit already. And then go ahead and lift your hips however high you're going to lift. And even if you have low back issues, you can still lift and be neutral and get the chest opening here. Now, for some of you guys, just keeping your shoulder blades folded together is going to be enough. For some of you, you can interlace your fingers. Your arms need to be straight underneath you though. And you roll even more onto the back of the arms. And then you lift your rib cage. So you're lifting your hips, but you want to lift your rib cage too. Let's take 3 extra slow breaths here. Lower down nice and slow. Hug your knees in. You can give yourself a little rock. So not to hold anybody back. Anyone that has a full back bend practice, the second time we go up, you're welcome to do Urdhva Dhanurasana, which is upward facing bow, a full back bend. The rest of us are going to stick with bridge a second time. So you do what's best for you. But usually the second time up, you can get even more expansion through the rib cage. So big toes touch. Heels are separated. Fold your wings in. Lift your hips. If you can, you interlace your fingers. Bring the shoulder blades even closer together. So you're kind of rolling onto the back of the arms. You lift your hips as high as you can. Then you really, really lift that rib cage and you breathe deep. Lower back down, nice and slow. Hug your knees in, rock side to side. And then I want you to keep your right knee hugged in and extend your left leg all the way out into the ground. Hug your right knee pretty deeply, as much as you can. So a lot of times people think that this is just a transition. It's not, it's an actual pose. It's called wind relieving pose. So it's good for our internal organs like digestion, your intestines, and it's also good for releasing the right side of the back. So 2 more breaths on this side. And then bring your left knee up to meet your right knee. Switch, hang on to your left knee and extend your right leg all the way out. Hug that left knee in nice and deep. And let's breathe here. Left side of wind relieving pose. Bring your right knee up to meet your left knee. Give yourself a little wiggle if you want to. And then we're going to drop both knees over to the right. Now, if you can, go ahead and stack the knees a little bit. We won't be like crazy about it. But depending upon your mobility, that left arm opens out to the left. So I'm a little tighter on my left side. I don't have to work too hard to have my left arm off the ground, meaning gravity is helping me with the left side of my chest stretch. So you found this. He's late for class. Shams was here earlier. Everyone's here. All right, so you should be feeling this on the left side of your chest. If you're very flexible, bring your left knee in front of the right knee to help get that left shoulder blade off the ground. If you have a little more tightness like I do, as long as there's a little space between the left arm and the ground, you'll get some stretch. Couple more breaths here. And then bring both knees up. Drop them over to the left. Let your right arm open out to the right. So again, you don't have to be perfect in stacking the knees, but I do want you to work towards having a little bit of space underneath that right shoulder blade, at least, if not the arm, so that gravity can help you stretch your chest. If you're super flexible, you're going to have to actually bring your right knee like in front of the left. But if you've got a little tightness like I do, you shouldn't have to work that hard. Couple more breaths here. And then bring your knees back up. Give them a good squeeze. Rock side to side. So what I'd like you to do is slide your hands directly to the top of your kneecaps. Keep your knees together. We're going to draw 3 big circles in the air with our knees. You're going to feel your whole low back getting massaged. Make sure you go 3 circles in each direction. And then as you finish out, slide your hands to the front of your shins if you can. And hang on pretty good. We're going to push our knees away from us until the arms straighten. I've had you do this one leg at a time before from that wind relieving pose. This is a little more intense. This is your counter pose for the upper back. As you push your knees a little farther, you're going to feel your upper back start to lift. If your head comes up, put your head back down. Just let your upper back stretch. Take a couple of breaths. Then you're going to put just your left foot flat on the ground, so your left knee is bent. I want you to use your left hand and grab your right foot or ankle. You're going to be gentle with yourself here. Your right ankle should be very flexed. You're going to start to pull your right foot. This is all like not literal, kinda towards your left armpit. So we did a lot of front hip opening along with our chest opening because they just go together. If you need to get this glute, your right glute to stretch a little, you pull your right foot. I like to use both hands, you don't have to. You pull your right foot kind of towards your left armpit, but you can play with the angle here. So it's a little different from a figure 4. You can bring your right knee closer to the midline or farther away. You can open the right knee up more than 90 degrees or less. I want you to play with this. We're here for 5 or 6 breaths. So be curious, explore, experiment. Couple more breaths on this side. We just didn't want our glutes to feel neglected. We want to make sure we get all body parts. Even though we always emphasize at least something, you don't want to neglect anything. Good. Release your right foot down to the mat. Your right knee stays bent. You're just going to bring your left leg up. See if you can grab your left foot with your right hand and flex that ankle. Maybe you use both hands, maybe you don't. It's up to you. But again, you're kind of pulling your left foot towards your right armpit, but then you're going to experiment and explore. Maybe the leg is more across the midline. Maybe it's way out to the side. Maybe you open the knee up a little bit. You're going to kind of play with it till you find the perfect spot. And then we'll take a few extra breaths. And then go ahead and put your left foot flat on the ground. Let your knees drop open, soles of the feet together. We're going to take our arms over our head so they're on the floor. Interlace your fingers, but extend your index fingers straight up. This is Jupiter Mudra. It's about expansion. So we're trying to expand our spines, and we're expanding our minds and our hearts all at the same time. So on your next inhale, press your knees towards the ground and strongly reach through your fingertips. If you breathe extra deep, you're going to feel your rib cage lift and expand. That's what we want. On your next exhale, release, relax, let your arms slide down below your shoulders, palms up, kind of like you would for Shavasana. And then on your next inhale, press your low back into the mat. So you're taking the curve out of your spine. It's a posterior tilt of the pelvis. It's a lengthening of the low back muscles. It's a relief for those of you who have tight low backs. On your next exhale, release. You'll feel your pelvis kind of tilt forward again, and so the arch comes back into your back. So one more time, inhale and flatten. Press your low back down. Take one more breath here. Exhale and release. Bring the knees back up and together, feet flat, and let's move into that breath-centered hip roll. So you keep your knees together. As you exhale, both knees gently drop a little to one side. As you inhale, they come back up. And as you exhale, they go the other way. So these could be small movements, just little subtle movements, or they can be full on twisty hip rolls, whatever feels good to you. Just follow your breath. Couple more times on each side. When you feel like you're even or when you're ready, you're just going to give your hips a little wiggle. I'd like you to hug your knees in one more time, squeeze them, and then from here, simply extend your legs out. Separate the feet. Wiggle your legs if you need to, lengthen your spine. Let your hands come below the heart, palms up. Let's take a deep breath in. And as you close your eyes, exhale with a sigh through the mouth and relax. Just let your whole body go. Your breath is going to soften along with your body. And even though it gets shallower and gentler, you'll still be able to feel your rib cage moving with your breath. And so we're going to actually intentionally move our breath around during our Shavasana today. So just roll with me on this. Even though I don't want you to deepen your breath, I want you to keep it soft and gentle. I want you to imagine that you're sending all of your air into the lower lobe of your right lung. So you're pretending that you're only breathing into the bottom part of your right lung. You should feel the bottom part of your right rib cage expand with your inhales. Now switch it, send all of your air into the lower lobe of your left lung. Imagine that you're only breathing into the bottom of your left lung, so you feel the bottom part of your left rib cage expand. Shift it now to the lower left and upper left. So you're breathing into your entire left lung as though that's the only place you're breathing. And now shift it into the right lung, the lower and upper part of your right lung, as though that's the only lung you're breathing into. Now I want you to breathe towards your back. Just feel as though nothing on the front side of the body is moving. When you're breathing in, you feel the pressure of your back on the mat increase. And when you breathe out, you feel it decrease.
Now I want you to try and breathe into your entire torso, from the crease of your thighs to the base of your throat. When you breathe in, I want you to feel it all. Feel your abdomen, feel the sides of the waist, the stomach, the low back, both sides, and upper and lower parts of your lungs, your armpits, all the way up to your collarbone. Your whole body is expanding, the upper back, the mid back, everything. Breathe as though your torso is a beach ball and you're inflating it completely. And then just let your breathing completely soften back down as you begin to feel into your limbs, your extremities. How do your arms and legs feel? Your hands and feet, your neck and head. How are the muscles? How are the bones? How are the joints? Begin to move your fingers and toes. Deepen your breath now, really on purpose, so that the next time you breathe in, you can spread your fingers and toes, and as you breathe out, you relax them. Breathe in and just stretch, however you want to stretch, and breathe out, and relax. Go ahead and bend your knees, hugging them in if you want to, but you don't have to. And then roll to your right side. And press yourself up into sitting. As you come to sitting, find that nice, straight, aligned spine. Just kind of take a moment and check in. How's it all going right now? How's your body feeling? What about fluctuations of the mind? Hopefully they've mostly disappeared and we really do have one pointed focus. Is that enough? What about emotions? Do you still have any at all, or does it feel like they've cleared? Or maybe you feel joyful, or maybe you feel peaceful, whatever that is. Notice your energy. Do you feel more energized, or do you feel calmer, or do you feel a combination of both? Just kind of check in with all of that. And then we're just going to do a really simple 1-to-2 ratio breath. So kind of going back to basics. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Ujjayi breath is very useful here to help control and lengthen the exhale. So whatever you inhale, I just want your exhale to be twice as long. If you're one of those people that likes balancing out the energy of the moon phases, which of course you know me, I do, you might consider the tip of the ring finger of each hand touching the tip of the thumb and letting the hands rest palm up on your knees or thighs. This brings in lunar energy, and what's really cool about it is it's also the mudra for health and intuition, and we can all use better health, right? No matter how healthy we are, we can always improve. So if that feels good to you, do that, and if not, just let your hands rest wherever you like. Straighten your spine, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, exhale completely through your nose, and then begin your own count, 1-to-2 ratio breathing. And so just finishing out the breath that you are on. And as you do finish it out, just pause. Notice how you feel. And we'll slowly bring our palms together in front of our hearts. So opening up the chest is really good basically, because we're forward bending creatures as humans, there's no downside to it. It's a movement that we all need. So physiologically, it's just the best thing you can do for yourself. From an energetic standpoint, we talk about opening the chest as being an opening of the heart, the energetic heart. And so one of the most powerful emotions that we can work with is gratitude. They say it's the precursor to joy. It's impossible to have joy without gratitude. So it's a good thing to foster your gratitude. So right now, whatever the thing that you are most grateful for, I want you to bring that to mind and allow yourself to actually feel that overwhelming sense of gratitude. And then add to that gratitude for your practice today. Gratitude for this art and science of yoga. It is an amazing, life-giving discipline. Gratitude for another day on this planet. It's always a gift when we get to spend another day here. And gratitude for the breath that you're breathing right now. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Happy sigh through the mouth. We bring our palms together at our foreheads. This reminds us to be present, to just really pay attention. We bring our palms to our mouths, and this is a reminder to speak our truth. We bring our palms to our hearts, our beautiful hearts, and we're reminded to keep them open, to always come from a place of kindness, compassion, and love, and to remember to turn that towards ourselves as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you, and I'm very grateful for all of you. Namaste.